I think I figured out why Democrats don't know what a woman is. Um, and this is what I'm getting at. So, okay, I'm starting to rethink women's rights. Like, I'm really thinking about it. This is where I'm at with that. So, I thought that in order for a woman to have a right, she has to be protected. So far, so good. And so, as a woman, to have rights, you have to be protected, and your lifestyle has to be protected. And as well as if you choose to have children, your children have to be protected. The more that I think about this, the more I realize that being a woman is directly connected to a man. This is what I mean when I say that. In order for a woman to be protected, there has to be a man to protect her. I know I might get a lot of pushback from that. I know a lot of people believe that they don't, a woman does not need a man to protect them. Okay. This is what I say to that. Let's take a woman who's completely self sufficient. And let's say a woman who's single with no kids and she lives on her own. Somewhere up the food chain with her employment, there is a man who signs off on everything. If there's an emergency, she has to call the police. If there's a medical emergency, she has to call a medic. If there's a fire, firemen come to put out her house. The buildings that she live in and dwell in, men built those, so on and so forth. So even if there's not a man sitting in your house to protect your rights, ultimately a man gets involved. So that's for a man protecting a woman. As far as like a woman being a wife, a man has to choose her to be a wife. Now I know that some people might challenge this and talk about like gay marriage, right? And so here's what I have to say about that. Two women get married. Ultimately, there's again a man involved with that. Not that I'm minimizing that, men compared to women, but somewhere along the lines, those women have to be covered by a man in order to even have a marriage, right? So the only reason why gay marriage is even a thing for women is because ultimately men have decided to let it be so in this country. Shout out to Barack Obama. And then finally, you have women being protected, their children being protected. If someone decides to have children, and yeah, it just goes without saying. Like, even just being a woman on your own, walking down the street. If a man chooses to snatch your purse or something, you cannot physically overtake this guy, generally speaking, right? Having children makes your situation even more vulnerable. And especially if the child's father is not involved, becomes more complicated, right, to say the least. Now, with me throwing that out there, just quickly unpacking that, going back to Democrats and how they perceive women, anything having to do with a man protecting a woman, automatically that's misogyny. Automatically that's, the bad guy talking. But at the same time, when I look at the rich, powerful, and wealthy Democrats, they don't have that kind of confusion in their households. I've noticed the higher up you go in the Democratic Party, the more successful the people are, they tend to run their homes in relatively conservative ways. It's like it's okay for your family to be out of order, but it's not okay for my family to be out of order. That just kind of feels like the mentality, right? But not to judge them on a personal level. Let's take something like Jasmine Crockett, for example. Like, this woman will say anything out of her face. Anything will come out of her neck. And she has no real accountability. One of the last videos I saw of her, I think she was on the Breakfast Club boasting about how she's not married and doesn't have children. So, what's really the consequence of anything she does? She's not really embarrassing anyone but herself. After she's dead and gone, that's just it. Um, and these are the type of women that they have to represent us, particularly in the Democratic Party, specifically for black women. Um, and young black girls, I guess she can be appealing because, she's got the makeup, she's got the attitude, she's got the rolling neck. Um, but that's not what the average everyday person think of when they think woman. They don't think of this belligerent, off-putting person. Hopefully they don't. I don't know. I'm still warming up to it. Um, it's like the Democratic Party is so far removed from reality. The rest of us can't live in this fantasy of we're just gonna make up what we think a woman is, then we're just gonna swing for the fences. Like, you know, to bring up another person, how Terrence Howard was talking about a woman's her rights to be a woman, to be a mother, and to do for her family. At the root of all this is what women ultimately deal with, is their ability to take care of their family. Now, it's been reduced to women just saying taking care of their kids. And unfortunately, that's a byproduct, again, of the Democratic Party. Like this whole you don't need no man rhetoric, which is crazy to me. But again, I'm a little sheltered. So, the type of things that's in the media, I just write it off as entertainment. But for the most part, there are people out there who really take this stuff to heart. They really look at these strong female figures as like their examples, you know? And sadly, even with black women and girls in particular, our role models are like Taraji P. Henson, who's always complaining, Oprah Winfrey, who's rich, childless. I don't even think she's legally married. And then, of course, Jasmine Crockett, our modern favorite, the belligerent Bratz doll. It's like all of our examples are they're dysfunctional. Like, it's okay if you got like a bunch of money, you're on the road, you're an entertainer. But for those of us who are actually power in society, actually living an everyday life, these types of examples of strong women, strong black women in particular, they're dysfunctional. In our real lives, when we are dealing with our kids and stuff, it's important for us to have a family structure. And to me, in my mind, it was like, that's a no-brainer. But it's not a no-brainer for everybody else. Everybody else wasn't raised the way I was, to where it's like, okay, we all know the right thing to do and how to do it. But somehow we skate past how we're supposed to do things. And then when we get the remix version, it doesn't work, right? So the Democratic Party would pitch that, we'll subsidize, or we'll pay for this, or you don't need him, or it takes a village. Oh my God. I hate how that quote has been dragged. A village, what is the village protected by? Men. Who runs the village ultimately? Men. When it's time to go to war, who's fighting at the front line? Men. The way the Democratic Party has taken that and turned it into something else, it's like it takes a village of a bunch of women depending on the government, which brings me to another point. This whole white man bad rhetoric in the Democratic Party, the taxpayers are white men. Like Dr. Umar Johnson was talking about how his daughter wasn't breastfed, she was drinking that white man milk. But you, black man, was not providing for your baby mama. You, black man, said, oh yeah, I would have, considered marrying my baby mama if she would have moved me in when she learned she was pregnant. That's not how that goes. You're not supposed to be getting women pregnant and you have nowhere to go. But that's what that has become. I understand why the Democrat doesn't know what a woman is, because they don't know what a man is. Like, they don't even, they struggle with their men being perceived to be masculine in their party. So maybe that's why I can never go back to the Democratic Party, because in my house, my husband is the man of this house, and I am the woman of this house. And our children, they have their place because there's already a man in charge, and there's already a woman making sure that that charge is carried out.